this is Jo from Maths Tutor Me. Today we're going to be learning some fractions and we're specifically going to be dividing fractions today. So in the box here, we know to divide by a fraction, we can simply multiply by the reciprocal of the fraction. Okay, so I used the word simple in there, but there's some fancy words in there. Reciprocal. Okay, reciprocal is what happens when you swap the positions of the numerator with the denominator. Okay, so find the reciprocal of 6 out of 11. So reciprocal just means swap the numbers around so that the 11's on the top and the 6 is on the bottom. Okay, so that's what reciprocal means. So if we want to evaluate this here, 3 over 7 divided by 2 over 5, all we have to do is leave the first fraction, 3 over 7. We can change the divide into a multiply sign if we take the reciprocal of the second fraction here, which will make it 5 over 2. Okay, so we learned about multiplying last lesson. So we learned to look for cancelling, which in this case there isn't anything that can cancel. And then we multiply the numerators together. 3 times 5 is 15. And we multiply the bottom together. 7 times 2 is 14. Okay, so 15 on 14 is the answer. Or as a mixed numeral, that would be 1 and 1 over 14. Let's do that again for B. To divide, we write the first fraction down. We change the divide to a times, turn the second fraction upside down, or take the reciprocal of the second fraction. Looking for cancelling, 4 and 6 can be divided by 2 this time. So we get a 2 here. Divide that by 2, we'd get 3. The 5 and the 20 we can divide by 5, which would give me 1 there, and that would be a 4. Multiplying what is left, 2 times 4 is 8, and 1 times 3 on the bottom is 3. So 8 over 3 is our answer, or as a mixed numeral, 3 goes into 8 2 times with a remainder of 2, so 2/3. Okay, C, 2 divided by 4/7. Well, 2, a whole number, can be written as 2 over 1. We change the divide to a times and turn the fraction upside down, so 7 over 4. Looking to cancel, the 2 and the 4 can be divided by 2, giving a 1 and a 2. Multiplying, 1 times 7 is 7, and 1 times 2 is 2, which is also 7 divided by 2 goes 3 times with a remainder of 1. So 3.5. D, to divide mixed numerals, we have to change them into improper fractions. So 4 on the denominator will stay on the denominator. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. For the second fraction, we'll leave the divide there for a moment. The 8 stays on the bottom. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 5 is 13. Okay, on the next line, we can write it down again, but we can change our divide into a times and turn our second fraction upside down. Now that we're timesing, we can cancel out. So 13 and 13 will become a 1 and a 1. The 4 and the 8 we can divide by 4 to get a 1 here and a 2 there. Let's multiply what is left. 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 1 is 1. So that's it. The answer is just 2. Question 3. How many lots of 3/4 of a cup of flour can be taken from a 5 kilogram bag? All right, so if we have a 5 kilogram bag of flour, we want to divide it up into 3/4 cupfuls. Okay. To divide, we're going to have to think of that as being 5 over 1. Then we're going to have to change our divide into a times by turning this fraction upside down. There's nothing that can be simplified here, so let's multiply. 5 times 4 is 20, and 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, how many times does 3 go into 20? Well, 3 6s are 18. That's going to be the highest 3 times table we can get there. So it goes 6 times with a remainder of 2, because 18, 19, 20, that's 2 left over out of 3. So that means you could get you could get 6 whole lots of 3/4 of a cup, and you'd have a little bit left over. You wouldn't quite be able to get your 7th group of 3/4. Okay? All right, now that you've seen how to do it, time to practice. Pause the video and give these few questions a go, and then restart to see the answers. So for question 1, we want to find the reciprocal of 3/7. Reciprocal just means turn the fraction upside down. So the reciprocal is 7/3. Question 2, we want to evaluate each of these problems here. So we want to find what 7/12 divided by 3/8 is. So we leave the 7/12. We change the divide into a times, and we turn the second fraction upside down. Then we can cancel the 12 and the 8 by dividing by 4, which would give me 3 here and 2 there. Multiplying across the top, 7 times 2 is 14, and 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, we can write that as a mixed numeral. 9 goes into 14 once with a remainder of 5. For B, we want to write that whole number 5 there as a fraction, so it becomes 5/1. We'll change the divide to a times, turn the second fraction upside down. There is nothing to be simplified there, so we go straight to the multiplying. 5 times 7 is 35, and 1 times 2 is 2. 2 goes into 35 17 times, because 2 17s is 34, so there'd be 1 left over out of 2. And for C, we change this into improper fractions. So 3 on the bottom, 3 times 1 is 3, 4, 5, adding those on. Divide by 2 on the bottom, 2 3s is 6, plus that on is 7. Now we need to change our divide to a times, turn the second fraction upside down. Nothing there to cancel, so 5 times 2 is 10, and 3 times 7 is 21. And that's it for that question. Last one, number 3. 2/3 of a cake is left after dinner. If this remainder is to be shared amongst 4 people, how much of the original cake will each receive? Okay, so there's 2/3 of the cake left, and you want to share that between 4 people. Sharing is the same as dividing. You want to divide it by 4 people. Okay, now remember a whole number, you change it to a fraction by putting it over 1. So all we need to do is change this into a time. So 2/3 times by, turn the second fraction upside down, 1/4. Then we can look for cancelling, but there doesn't, here there is 2 and 4. We can divide by 2 to get a 1 and a 2. Multiply what's left. 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 2 is 6. So each person would get 1/6 of the original cake. All right, that's the end of our lesson today. I hope you've been able to follow all these examples and that you're starting to find these questions a little bit easier. Keep practicing, always practice lots, and join me again next time. Bye.